Hello and welcome back to another episode of
Video Nerds.
I'm the Man Nerd and I am here with
StephenShred, that's me.
That is you. Okay. Today we are going to be doing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, is it true that the first Guardians of the Galaxy is your favorite Marvel movie, or at least in the top?
Yeah, I would definitely say that Guardians of the Galaxy, the very first one, is, I would say, number 3. I would say number 1 for me, which a lot of people are going to question this pick. Captain America, the First Avenger. Then it goes Infinity War, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. I absolutely love that movie, man.
You know, Captain America, it was a good one. I gotta say that I liked it more than a lot of people said they did as well. So yeah, I can get with you on that. It's not my favorite, but yes, definitely one of my tops. All right, so now Guardians of the Galaxy, first one, I loved it. It was great. It was a kind of a game changer. And then the second one, how did that one make you feel?
I felt like it dove a little too deep into the MCU goofy comedy that they started getting like really well known for. I hate like the classic comedy tropes that a lot of things fall on, like the old, like in Avengers 2. Oh, don't say it, man. And then it happens. Oh, you just had to say it. Like, I hate that.
They definitely did that. And we saw the combination of that with Thor Love and Thunder.
Yep. It's I think it's just when you let the writers have the director / producers, being James Gunn for these and Taika Waititi for the Thor or the later 2 Thor movies. I feel like when you give them full reign, it starts getting a little too goofy. Like, I feel like you need that person to be like, okay, let's take a step back. Like, let's not get too crazy. Because Ragnarok, perfect amount of comedy.
Yep.
First Guardians, perfect amount of comedy. Guardians 2, a little too goofy for me. Love and Thunder, way too goofy for me.
Way too goofy, like cringy goofy.
Yeah, like it hurt my soul, which sucked because it had such a good villain. It had such a good setup, and then it just ruined it to the point where I barely remember that Christian Bale was in the movie.
Yep, you just reminded me he was. So there we go. All right, so now Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This one I was very scared of because Marvel has been going downhill, and it's probably mostly due to the shows, actually. Even though I like some of those shows, it just seems like they're playing everything out way too much. So this one, I was like, after watching Quantumania, I didn't know if this was even going to be worth the watch. But surprisingly, it was. It was actually pretty darn good. So let's get into our quick rating on this before we get into it, just to let people know kind of what we're thinking about it. Why don't you start us off?
You know what? Actually, I think you should start us off because I really want to know how you felt about all this, because I think I already told you how I felt about this. So I want to hear a little bit more of you.
Okay, I got it. So this one, I would say at first I was watching this, I was like, oh man, this is going to be very dark, which it kind of was. And that whole darkness thing in all these shows and movies has been, getting to me lately because of things. But it's like, man, why can't it be light? Which they made up for. And I think it was a very good blend of what you said. It's the comedy, and then they actually had a lot of emotion in this one, a lot of dark aspects, and the comedy kind of helped lighten it up. And then the end, they brought everything back around, make you feel good. So for me, this was definitely a win. I was very skeptical the first 30 minutes, I'd say, but then it definitely started getting me into it a lot more. So I'm going D20, man.
Damn.
Going D20. I'm gonna watch this again.
I think I'll go D20 as well, but because of the dark parts of it, I probably won't go back to it the same way I did the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, I would say I've probably seen over 10 times. This one, maybe I won't see as many times because the dark parts were really dark. But yeah, overall, I had as much fun with this one as I had the older movies, and it gave me that feeling that I used to get when I would get my tickets to the premiere of the new MCU movie, you know, where you're just like, this is gonna be awesome. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, and there's so much involved with this one. It's kind of nuts. This was like over 2-hour movie, and it was a lot. And I thought that the whole, thing about this would be like they're solely focusing on Star-Lord's breakup, basically, with
Gamora.
Gamora, yeah, with Gamora, which kind of a breakup. She doesn't remember him because of, time travel and all that crap. But anyway, I thought it was going to be purely focused on that, but that kind of took a back seat to the story, which was very, very smart. They kind of pointed that it was going to be like that, and then they drifted off and they went to the real story, which is Rocket the Raccoon, which I liked that. That was it was dark, but it was very, very moving.
Yeah, and without getting into spoilers, I liked the way that they were able to tell us a backstory and give us something more about the character, give the character a lot more depth without having to sacrifice continuity, because I feel like they've been doing that a lot lately, where, oh, this character that you love that you've seen in like 50 of our movies, well, this is actually a part of their past. You just didn't know it. It's like, yeah, but if that was part of their past, then what about this, this, and that? And why didn't this person help with that? Oh, well, they were just busy. Don't worry about it. And it just ruins the feeling of continuity. This, I felt they did in such a they did it so well that the continuity to me didn't feel broken. There was no part of it that I was like, well, if that's the case, then why is Rocket like this? Everything made sense, and his character was like, our knowledge about the character was so surface level to an extent that the depth just could be explored without breaking what we know about the character.
Yeah, and that whole story arc did not change his character. It validated it. So that was different. They like to change the character by revealing stuff from the past, but not this one. No, it just showed you who he is and said, yep, deal with it.
Yeah, we even get to learn where he gets his affinity for weapons and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So which is a huge part of his character. That's why we had the idea that, he got his name from, so.
All right, so now we're doing it, man. We're going in.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Okay, instead of repeating the entire storyline, let's just think of some questions, man. Like, I'm going to start off. Who's your favorite character in this one?
I want to say my favorite character just because they're always, like, kind of there, but they're always kind of, like, doing their own thing. Like, I think Mantis is one of my favorite characters, which sucks because she gets introduced in, like, my least favorite of the three. But the way that she always just had something to say, and like, the comedy with her wasn't to a cringy point. I would say she was, like, one of my favorites. Star-Lord almost kind of took a back seat in this one. He wasn't as upfront as he had been in the previous ones.
No, definitely not. He was hurt most of the time. Yeah.
Then the constant Cosmo thing was funny as hell to me.
Yep. I thought Cosmo was my favorite. Just a good dog, which if you watch the movie, you'll laugh when I say that. Such a good dog. And it kind of had remember Adventure Time BMO?
Yeah.
Totally sounds like BMO.
That actually makes sense, yeah. I thought it was funny as hell, like, because Kraglin calls her a bad dog in the very beginning of the movie, and through the entire movie, she's just constantly bringing it up. She's like, I'm not a bad dog. Like, can you believe this guy called me a bad dog? It's like, man, yeah, a bad dog wouldn't do that, huh? Like, every chance. And it was just like, And it's like callback stuff like that definitely has the you run the risk of getting cringy with it, where it's just like, okay, it's not funny anymore. But it just landed at the perfect time.
Yeah, it did. And then the end, you know, you find out that no, Cosmo is a great dog, very good dog. Okay, so story moment. Favorite story moment of this movie?
That is a good question. I would say, again, this is like super random. This is not like a part that you would think would be one of my favorite parts of the story, because he's always treated as such an idiot that he finally gets his like little moment to shine that doesn't have anything to do with his strength. Drax's whole like being a good dad thing, I really liked.
Oh, that was so good. Yeah.
Because, you know, in the very, very first movie, one of the parts that gave him more depth, he talks about the reason why he hated Thanos. The reason he needed revenge is because his wife and kid were killed. And that finally gets to like shine again, him being a father. He translates for these children that they couldn't understand. And, you know, when they're like, you know, you could have spoken to them this whole time. Like, why didn't you? And he's like, because no one asked. Because everyone treats him like he's an idiot.
Yep.
So it's like him being able to show his like fatherly qualities that you would assume that he's had since the very beginning because he was a father. And his daughter meant enough to him that he's gone on this insane crusade to get revenge. So I really like that part of it, where he shows that, like I said, he's not just an idiot. He's not just there as the muscle or to be the butt of a joke, which he definitely was a lot of the times. But I really liked that he got his little moment to show what his character was.
Yeah, and his character turned out to be just one big dad joke.
Yeah. How about you?
Along those lines, I was actually thinking of Gamora. Like hers, like you see the past version of her that basically didn't fall in love with Star-Lord, didn't become part of the Guardians, and she's an asshole. She sucks. Like you hate her. And then you can see that, like, even Star-Lord at the end, like, says, you know, you're not her, but who you are right now is not that bad either. Like, you can see that she is actually who she's supposed to be. So that was kind of a weird transition for me hating her, and then throughout the movie, like, her growing just a little bit, but it's less growth and more realizing who she really is and where she belongs. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's literally Gamora in the first movie.
Yep.
What were your thoughts on Counter Earth?
That was so damn satirical. I loved it. The High Evolutionary is trying to build this perfect world with these perfect beings. So he basically like melds these animals with sometimes technology, but then he builds up and he just makes their evolution just go way faster, thousands of years in a moment, and wants them to be peaceful and, you know, harmonious and just be perfect. And you feel like this, you know, Counter Earth is going to be awesome. It's going to be this paradise. But it turns out it's just Earth now with animal people. There's even gangs. There's people drug dealing. And it's got everything that we have. And then he realizes, the High Evolutionary, like, realizes, yeah, I did fuck up. I just made everything how it was on Earth. I thought that was so funny that you get to see that. When they landed there, I was like, it's like, what the fuck is this? This shit's wild as shit.
Yeah. It's like the idea that if we were to disappear and start again from scratch, you know, we'd probably end up very similar still.
Yep. Oh, and then of course they had to ruin that by destroying the entire freaking planet and everybody on it.
Yeah, which was insane, because I was just like, oh, they're gonna save everyone last second. Nope.
Nope. The ship that he had was actually literally the planet was built around it. So when they took off, they just broke the entire planet apart. So there's that. What was your favorite part of the ending?
Well, I'll say a part that I am kind of the opposite. A part that I'm glad they kept out.
Okay.
I am glad they didn't force the love story between Star-Lord and Gamora to like expedite, and all of a sudden they're like kissing and doing all that.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, I thought they might have kissed at the end, but no.
Yeah, like they have their like little moment where I think she starts to like appreciate him and all that and care for him, and like she starts like just like in the very first movie. It's very slow and subtle, but I thought they were going to force it at the end. I was like, that's kind of lame. But she just goes back to being a Ravager, which I was very happy about. I was like, okay, cool. We're letting this just kind of go through. But I think my favorite part was that Peter gets to return home.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good...
It's his grandpa again.
Yeah, because a lot of them, supposedly this is their last movie. So I thought, which, you know, we're already in spoiler alert. So at the very end, it said Star-Lord will return, which I thought was kind of weird. But maybe Star-Lord is more of a moniker. So maybe it's not like Peter Quill is Star-Lord anymore. Maybe Rocket Raccoon's Star-Lord now. Not really too sure.
Or maybe it is Peter Quill and it's going to be like the Christmas special, something like that.
Maybe. Yeah, I just really liked that we got good closure, you know, because I feel like when projects come to their ending, a lot of the times you don't really get that, which is why I loved Captain America's ending for Endgame so much, because we got the closure.
Got his dance.
Yeah, we got the ending that we were hoping for, and I thought that was like a really good way. He goes home, he sees his grandpa, and his grandpa's happy about seeing him, and then they're just living a normal life. I really liked that. How about you?
Yeah, that was good. I'd say for me, it was Mantis going away. Well, there's two parts to this. There's Mantis going away on her crazy beasts that she became friends with. I thought that was just perfect. And then that whole dance scene, I loved it. And I don't like dance scenes, but it was a lot of fun.
Especially because in the very beginning, Drax says that dancing's for idiots.
Yep. And then he starts dancing because he's a dad now.
Yeah. So he's just flowing perfect into that.
All right. Well, yeah, this movie, D20, great movie. Loved it. It was a nice refresher to get back to, you know, a movie you loved. We did kind of leave out the whole Adam Warlock thing, which was very weird.
He was a lot more minor than I thought he was going to be, because they were hyping Will Poulter's part as Adam Warlock a lot, which he got the full Marvel treatment because you know, he's always seen as like the goofy looking dude, and now he is like absolutely jacked. So he got the full Marvel treatment. But he's a very minor character, but they definitely used him in the same way that I thought they would, where he's this all-powerful being, but he's also like a child, because he's like in the last Guardians movie, we see him still in the little chamber growing. So it's like all-powerful being, but you know, he only knows one thing, and that's, you know, do what we say for the good of what you're doing it for. You know, so he's essentially like a little kid with too much power. So then they bring him in, and it all made sense to me. Like, you know, he just wants that connection. He just wants to be appreciated and all that.
And he gets a second chance with the Guardians.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, that was nice. But I definitely thought he was going to be in the movie a lot more than maybe 3 or 4 parts.
I thought he was going to be more of a threat.
Yeah, I did too. I thought he would be constantly in there, but yeah, he was just kind of in there, and then he would just like, see ya.
Just pop in and screw up.
Yep.
All right, well, that's this one down. hopefully we'll get another good one. We've been getting a lot of good ones now. After we had some stinkers, we're getting some good ones.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay hopeful. Marvel specifically, this is James Gunn's last movie with them, which is the reason why a few of them are stepping away from it, because they said they love working with James Gunn, and now that he's not going to be a part of it, they don't really want to do it. Which even Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know if that name specifically is going to be carrying on after this. But yeah, we'll see how things go. James Gunn's stuff at DC, I'm not very hopeful for, because that's just.
I
just
really want Superman Legacy to be good, because if they do it right, it would be so good.
We could only hope.
Let's hope. All right. Well, until next time, we'll catch all of you later.
Later.